It sets the stage for one of the most interesting games between a 1-6 and 2-5 team that I can remember. Who would otherwise care? Pick two teams. One of them's 1-6, the other's 2-5. Who would care? Well, all of a sudden, it's the renewal of the rivalry between the Jets and the Patriots. Earlier this year on a Thursday night, the Jets shredded the Patriots. Now, here are the Patriots challenged by their coach. They're soft. And here come the low-energy New York Jets, according to first Aaron Rodgers. And now we're hearing more about Davante Adams' reaction to his first exposure to his new team. Davante Adams traded 9 days ago, showed up 8 days ago, gets his first taste of the Jets in game setting on Sunday night, and he didn't like what he saw. He didn't like the fact that there was no energy. He didn't like the fact that after a big play, there isn't the kind of celebrating and excitement that can cause more big plays, that can cause the team where it's going well to get a lift and the team where it's not going well to sink. He didn't see any of that. He went off after the game, and he talked about it yesterday in his midweek press conference. Here's some of what Davante Adams had to say to reporters about the things he had to say to everyone in the organization after the 37-15 loss to the Steelers on Sunday night.
It's not really my personality to see something that's not right and to just let it go on, regardless of whether it's from the coaches, players, management, support staff, whoever. So obviously it was a lack of energy and urgency out there, and it was apparent, especially coming from, I've played on teams that have that winning culture, and I just took a moment to let them know, like, I had reservations about speaking up too early and being too vocal too early, but I felt like, in my mind I said F that, because I need we don't have time, and I got to do whatever I got to do to help this team. This team being so talented on the, roster-wise, it's just a waste to have everybody out there and, to have a dead sideline like that. Brees catch a ball and go 60, and we can't feed off none of the energy, and those type of plays are supposed to be contagious for the rest of the team. Dawned on me all the way until, later in the game when it was, quote-unquote over. And I was just thinking about it. I'm seeing some of the plays and seeing when guys are making plays. And, I've been part of, the Raiders, we didn't win a whole hell of a lot. But, at the end of the game, guys are making plays. We still dapping one another up and, playing for our pride, if nothing else. And I just felt like it wasn't necessarily that guys weren't playing hard, but we weren't out there celebrating together. We weren't playing, it didn't feel like a whole lot of fun was being had.
Okay, that's the first exposure that Davante Adams had to the Jets. And he made it clear that based upon the reaction, what he saw in the eyes of the players that he had spoken to, that they'd never been given that message before. They hadn't been exposed to that kind of an attitude. And Davante Adams is staying with Aaron Rodgers because he just got to New York. And Rodgers has a big old house, and it's apparently just him, so they drove home together. You got to wonder. And for those of you who think I have Aaron Rodgers derangement syndrome, this is a fair assessment of the situation. You got to wonder what Davante Adams is thinking. His good buddy from Green Bay has been there for a season and a half. And I know he was injured for most of last year's regular season, but he was around. He was there in training camp, there in the preseason, there in the offseason program for a change. He's been there this year. He was there for the first 6 games of the 2024 regular season. Davante Adams has to be thinking, what the hell has Aaron been doing? How has Aaron not noticed that these guys need a kick in the ass? Why hasn't he given them a kick in the ass? Why didn't he at least tell me, hey, you know what? You might want to give these guys a little kick in the ass. Davante Adams had to figure it all out on his own, and he diagnosed it in one game. Rodgers has been there for 24 games now. I know he was gone for a while last year after the Achilles tendon injury, but he was back. He was around. He was soaking it all in. He was making sure that everybody was paying attention to him and this vague possibility he might come back and play last year because it's all about me. That's a fair criticism. Think about when Tom Brady suffered his Week 1 season-ending ACL 2008. He was gone. We never heard from him again. We get updates from time to time. Had an infection. We'd hear about that. How his rehab's going, but none of this hovering around the team. So Rodgers has been there. Rodgers can't act like he doesn't know. So if you're Davante Adams, you got to be wondering what your buddy got you into. And how has he not noticed this? It's the kind of thing that makes you take a step back and reassess. Was I wrong about this guy? I've known him all these years. Kind of clueless as to the heart and soul of the team, or lack thereof. And it's little things. That's one thing Adams said. Fake it if you have to. Just act happy when something goes well. Breece Hall has a 60-yard play. Let's celebrate. Guy makes a play. Go dap him up. Let's act like we give a shit. That's all he's saying. Act like you care. This is another one of those examples. We were talking earlier in the week about the water's edge of analytics. Trying to take football and turn it into a mathematical formula in all settings, in all respects. There's a human element to it. Do you care? Do you care? Why do you think we see, before plenty of games, the shots of the guy who's in the middle of a huddle doing everything he can to get his teammates fired up? They do it at preseason games. You got to get in the right mindset to go out and do the job. It's a physical sport. It's a violent sport. It's a test of wills. You got to get players in the right mindset to go out there and give their all. From the impressive pregame speeches, I remember the little introduction to Madden 2005 with Brian Dawkins. I used to just turn the game on to watch that because it just got me fired up for no reason. It's not like I'm doing anything. I just remember that. If you had that game, do you feel that? That was how it began. Do you feel that? That thing pounding in your chest. Teams need that. Human beings need that to get going. So, Davante Adams shows up, and he's like, what the hell's going on? What the hell is going on? Nobody cares. Nobody's fired up. And when it comes to Rodgers, I really wish I understood. He's kind of detached. He's kind of above it all. Like it's beneath him to go rah-rah. Hard to fire guys up when you're rattling off words like denouement and sanguine and esoteric and eloquence. But maybe he tried and they're just like, we don't know what the hell he's saying. Regardless, we'll see if it works. Because the Jets need to come to Foxborough, Gillette Stadium, with a lot more energy, obviously. The Patriots players are soft, according to their coach. Something's got to give in this one. Now, the Jets are still the better team. But the better team, they've been in several games this year, and they haven't won. They haven't won. They haven't done much. 2-5. They lose this one. It's not quite time to officially put a fork in them, but we're pretty close. 2-6. That's 8 games in, 9 games left. If you go 2-6, you got to go 7-2 to even have a shot. Even have a chance at stealing the 7 seed. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.